On the distant planet Zorath, the gentle breeze carried the scent of blossoming purple flowers. It was a peaceful world, lush with trees and shimmering lakes. But recently, the peace had been broken. Battles in the distant space had reached this quiet place, leaving sadness and loss behind. In a modest shelter at the edge of a small village sat 3 young alien children. Keto was the eldest, quiet and watchful, always protective of his younger siblings. Zara was brave and curious, always, asking questions and exploring new things. The youngest was Eula, shy and gentle, easily frightened by loud noises or sudden movements. The 3 children sat silently, looking through the windows at the quiet street outside. Their village was almost empty now. Many had fled when the conflict started. Those who stayed were cautious, unsure of the future. The children's parents had been among those who tried to protect the village. But they had not returned, leaving Kito, Zara, and Eula alone. The village elder, a kind old alien named Mura, watched over the children. He worried deeply about them, as they had become quiet and withdrawn, rarely speaking or playing. Mura had tried to find families in the village willing to care for them, but everyone was struggling. No one had enough resources or energy to take in 3 more young ones. Mura finally decided to ask for help from the Interstellar Foster Services, a group that found homes for orphan children throughout the galaxy. Days passed as Mura waited, anxiously for an answer. Eventually, a message came through, confirming that someone was coming to help. The foster parent was not from their planet. The message only mentioned he was human. The news quickly spread through the small village. Many villagers were nervous. Humans had a reputation, not all of it good. They were known as warriors and explorers, people who traveled widely across space. But most troubling to the villagers was that humans ate meat. On Zorath, eating meat was unheard of. All life was respected, and everyone lived peacefully on fruits, grains, and vegetables. The children had grown up learning that eating meat was cruel. "Will he hurt us?" asked Eula softly, her big eyes full of worry. "Humans eat meat, right?" Keto frowned, unsure but trying to stay strong for his siblings. Mura wouldn't let anyone dangerous come here. Zara, always bold, shrugged and said, "Maybe he's different. Not all humans are the same, right?" The next day, a small ship landed just outside the village. Keto, Zara, and Eula stood beside Mura, watching nervously as the ship's door slowly opened. From the shadows emerged a tall figure. The human was young with short, dark hair and kind eyes. He wore simple clothing, nothing like the armor or uniforms they had expected. He smiled warmly as he approached the small group. "Hello," he said gently, kneeling to be at their level. "My name is Miles. I promise I'm here to help." Mora stepped forward and greeted Miles politely, explaining the situation. Miles listened carefully, nodding with understanding. "I know humans have a scary reputation," he said kindly, glancing at the 3 worried children. "But I promise. I don't eat meat. I'm vegetarian. That means I only eat plants. You don't have to be scared of me." The children looked at each other, surprised and relieved. Slowly, they felt their fear beginning to ease. Miles spoke calmly and with kindness, making sure they knew he was here to care for them. He showed them pictures of his home and explained his travels across space, telling stories to help them feel more comfortable. As night fell, Miles gently encouraged them to join him for a meal. He had prepared a colorful dish full of fruits and vegetables from various planets. The children hesitated at first, but soon tasted the food. It was delicious, sweet, and fresh. For the first time in many days, they felt safe and hopeful. That evening, under the soft glow of Zorath's moons, Miles sat outside, quietly talking with Mora about his plan to take the children to a safe colony. Inside, Keto, Zara, and Eula lay down to sleep, feeling strangely comforted by the presence of this kind human. As they closed their eyes, each child wondered silently about their future. They knew the journey ahead would not be easy, but they felt ready to trust Miles. Perhaps. They thought not all humans were scary after all. The next morning, the sky of Zorth was bright and clear, hinting at a fresh beginning. Miles woke early, stepping outside to take in the peaceful scene. The village was slowly waking up, villagers moving cautiously but curiously around the newcomer. Miles understood their unease. Humans were not common here, and their reputation was not always positive. Inside the small shelter, the three children stirred. Quito was the first to rise, silently observing Miles through the window. He still felt cautious, responsible for his younger sibling's safety. Zara soon joined him, stretching and rubbing her eyes, her curiosity overcoming any remaining fears. Eula woke last, quiet and watchful as always. "Are we leaving today?" Zara asked quietly, joining Quito by the window. "I think so," Quito replied softly. Miles said he would take us somewhere safe. Eula looked uncertain, clutching a small toy their parents had given her long ago. "Is it really safe with him?" "He seems nice," Zara said thoughtfully. "He told. Usually doesn't eat meat. Maybe humans are not as scary as everyone says." Miles noticed them watching and gave them a gentle wave. The children hesitated, but then waved back shyly. After a simple breakfast, Miles prepared them to leave, carefully, packing their few belongings. He spoke gently and reassuringly. Understanding their mixed feelings about leaving home. The villagers gathered around to say goodbye. Mora stood close, his eyes filled with warmth and care. "You will be safe with Miles," he promised the children. "He is a good person." With careful, comforting words, Miles led them to his ship. It was small but cozy, built to make passengers feel at home. Inside, the children gazed around with wide eyes. The walls held screens showing calming images of planets, stars, and friendly animals from Earth. The seats were soft and comfortable, with bright blankets placed thoughtfully for the children's comfort. "This is your new home for a little while," Miles explained gently. "I'll show you around." He showed them a small sleeping area with 3 cozy beds arranged neatly. Next, he showed them the kitchen, pointing out different types of fruits, vegetables, and grains carefully stored. There were no signs of meat anywhere. The children exchanged relieved glances. Finally, Miles showed them the control room, filled with buttons, screens, and blinking lights. Zara was immediately fascinated, asking questions about how everything worked. Quito listened carefully, trying to remember every detail, while Eula stared quietly, amazed by all she saw as the ship. Gently lifted off from the surface of Zorth, the children pressed their faces against the windows. Their home planet grew smaller, gradually disappearing from sight. Miles stood quietly nearby, understanding the sadness they felt at leaving their home behind. "It's okay to feel sad," Miles said gently, "but I promise to keep you safe. And one day, you might return to visit your home again." Quito turned to Miles, his eyes serious but hopeful. "Do you really mean that?" "Absolutely," Miles replied firmly. "I will always do my best to keep my promises." Hours passed quietly on the ship as they traveled through space. Zara explored every corner, fascinated by human technology. Quito remained close to Eula, comforting her whenever she seemed worried. Miles let them settle in slowly, giving them space to become comfortable. During the evening meal, Miles prepared another tasty vegetarian dish. The children ate hungrily, enjoying the new flavors. As they ate, Miles shared stories about his adventures in space, gently making them laugh and smile. Slowly, the children began to feel more comfortable around him. "Miles, why did you choose?" "To help us?" Zara asked suddenly, curiosity shining in her eyes. Miles paused thoughtfully. "Because every child deserves safety and love," he answered quietly. "I know what it's like to lose family. I wanted to help make things better for you." The children listened closely, feeling the truth and kindness in his words. Later that night, tucked into their cozy beds, the children spoke softly together. "I think Miles is good," Eula whispered. "Me too. Zara agreed. Kito nodded quietly, feeling hopeful for the first time in days. Maybe everything really will be okay. As the ship continued silently through space, Miles sat in the control room, thoughtfully gazing at the stars. He knew their journey would have challenges, but he felt ready. Looking toward the sleeping area where the children rested safely, he felt a strong determination to protect them, no matter what. After several days traveling through space, the children had started to feel safe aboard Miles' ship. Life settled into a comfortable routine. They spent their days exploring, learning, and slowly bonding with Miles, who always treated them kindly. He patiently explained everything they asked about, encouraging their curiosity. One morning, Miles decided it was time to teach the children some useful skills. He gathered them in the ship's control room and smiled warmly. "Today, Miles," said softly, "I'm going to teach you about basic space navigation. Knowing how to navigate can help you stay safe." Zara's eyes brightened immediately, eager to learn. Kito nodded seriously, understanding the importance. Even Eula looked curious, carefully listening to Miles. Miles began patiently explaining the screens, buttons, and controls around them. Zara eagerly asked questions, quickly grasping the basics. Kito paid careful attention, quietly repeating information to himself, ensuring he understood. Eula, shy but interested, carefully watched her siblings and followed their example. Lesson continued smoothly, with Miles gently guiding them through simple steps. Zara quickly learned how to chart a basic course. Kito became skilled at reading star maps, calmly helping Eula understand the symbols and diagrams. Just as Miles started demonstrating a simple maneuver, alarms suddenly began to blare loudly throughout the ship. Red lights flashed urgently on all screens. The children jumped, terrified by the sudden noise and flashing lights. "What's happening?" Eula cried, clutching her siblings tightly. "Stay calm," Miles said firmly but gently. "We're being approached by another ship. It's probably nothing, but we need to be ready." Miles quickly took control of the ship, studying the approaching vessel carefully. His face grew serious as he recognized the markings. It was a pirate ship, infamous for attacking smaller, defenseless crafts. "Pirates," Miles said quietly, trying to keep calm for the children's sake. "They're dangerous, but we'll handle this. Stay close to me." Kito, Zara, and Eula huddled together behind Miles, fear written on their faces. Miles quickly maneuvered the ship, sending urgent messages for help while preparing defensive measures. He carefully guided the craft through sudden turns and quick movements, attempting to evade the pirates. The pirates soon sent a threatening message, demanding Miles surrender the ship or face destruction. Miles calmly replied, refusing their demands firmly. Zara, peeking over Miles' shoulder, whispered nervously, "Will we be okay?" "Yes," Miles promised, his voice steady. "I won't let anything happen to you." The pirates began firing warning shots, the blast shaking the ship. Miles skillfully dodged, but knew they couldn't avoid conflict for long. Thinking quickly, he activated a hidden defensive feature, creating an electromagnetic pulse. The sudden pulse temporarily disabled the pirates' ship, leaving them drifting helplessly. Miles immediately accelerated the ship, leaving the pirates far behind. Once safely away, he checked on the children, kneeling to comfort them. "Are you all okay?" he asked gently, his voice filled with concern. Kito nodded shakily, trying to appear brave. Zara hugged Miles tightly, relieved and grateful. Eula clung silently to her siblings, eyes wide with lingering fear. "I know that was scary," Miles said gently, looking into their frightened eyes. "But you're safe now. I'm so proud of how brave you were." As the ship continued its journey, Miles took special care to comfort the children. He prepared their favorite meals, played calming music, and reassured them with quiet, comforting words. Slowly, their fear faded, replaced by trust and gratitude. That evening, after everyone was settled and calmer, Kito approached Miles quietly. You really protected us, he said softly. You could have been hurt, but you didn't stop. Miles smiled warmly, kneeling to face Keto. You and your sisters mean everything to me, he explained gently. I promise to keep you safe, and I'll always do my best to keep that promise. Keto nodded seriously, fully believing Miles's words. Thank you, he whispered sincerely. As the children drifted into sleep later that night, they felt a new and deep trust in Miles. They realized that he wasn't just someone caring for them. Temporarily, he was someone truly willing to risk everything to protect them. Miles sat quietly in the control room, watching stars drift by, feeling a deep sense of responsibility and affection for these young lives. Entrusted to his care. In the quiet and darkness of space, they all felt the comforting presence of a bond, growing stronger. Despite the challenges faced today, they knew they were no longer alone. After several days traveling through space, the children had started to feel safe aboard Miles' ship. Life settled into a comfortable routine. They spent their days exploring, learning, and slowly bonding with Miles, who always treated them kindly. He patiently explained everything they asked about, encouraging their curiosity. One morning, Miles decided it was time to teach the children some useful skills. He gathered them in the ship's control room and smiled warmly. Today, Miles said softly, I'm going to teach you about basic space navigation. Knowing how to navigate can help you stay safe. Zara's eyes brightened immediately, eager to learn. Keto nodded seriously, understanding the importance. Even Eula looked curious, carefully listening to Miles. Miles began patiently explaining the screens, buttons, and controls around them. Zara eagerly asked questions, quickly grasping the basics. Keto paid careful attention, quietly repeating information to himself, ensuring he understood. Eula, shy but interested, carefully watched her siblings and followed their example. Lesson continued smoothly, with Miles gently guiding them through simple steps. Zara quickly learned how to chart a basic course. Keto became skilled at reading star maps, calmly helping Eula understand the symbols and diagrams. Just as Miles started demonstrating a simple maneuver, alarms suddenly began to blare loudly throughout the ship. Red lights flashed urgently on all screens. The children jumped, terrified by the sudden noise and flashing lights. What's happening? Eula cried, clutching her siblings tightly. Stay calm, Miles said firmly but gently. We're being approached by another ship. It's probably nothing, but we need to be ready. Miles quickly took control of the ship, studying the approaching vessel carefully. His face grew serious as he recognized the markings. It was a pirate ship, infamous for attacking smaller, defenseless crafts. Pirates, Miles said quietly, trying to keep calm for the children's sake. They're dangerous, but we'll handle this. Stay close to me. Keto, Zara, and Eula huddled together behind Miles, fear written on their faces. Miles quickly maneuvered the ship, sending urgent messages for help while preparing defensive measures. He carefully guided the craft through sudden turns and quick movements, attempting to evade the pirates. The pirates soon sent a threatening message, demanding Miles surrender the ship or face destruction. Miles calmly replied, refusing their demands firmly. Zara, peeking over Miles's shoulder, whispered nervously, Will we be okay? Yes, Miles promised, his voice steady. I won't let anything happen to you. The pirates began firing warning shots, the blasts shaking the ship. Miles skillfully dodged, but knew they couldn't avoid conflict for long. Thinking quickly, he activated a hidden defensive feature, creating an electromagnetic pulse. The sudden pulse temporarily disabled the pirate ship, leaving them drifting helplessly. Miles immediately accelerated the ship, leaving the pirates far behind. Once safely away, he checked on the children, kneeling to comfort them. Are you all okay? He asked gently, his voice filled with concern. Keto nodded shakily, trying to appear brave. Zara hugged Miles tightly, relieved and grateful. Eula clung silently to her siblings, eyes wide with lingering fear. I know that was scary, Miles said gently, looking into their frightened eyes. But you're safe now. I'm so proud of how brave you were. As the ship continued its journey, Miles took special care to comfort the children. He prepared their favorite meals, played calming music, and reassured them with quiet, comforting words. Slowly, their fear faded, replaced by trust and gratitude. That evening, after everyone was settled and calmer, Keto approached Miles quietly. You really protected us, he said softly. In the days following their escape from the pirates, the atmosphere on Miles' ship changed noticeably. The children had begun to trust Miles deeply, viewing him not just as a protector, but as someone genuinely caring. Miles, too, felt increasingly close to them. Seeing them as more than passengers, he felt responsible for their happiness and safety. One morning, Zara found Miles working quietly in the small ship's garden room. He had planted various fruits and vegetables to ensure a steady supply of fresh food during long travels. Zara approached him curiously. Miles, what are these plants? She asked, pointing to tall, leafy stalks. Miles smiled warmly, happy to see her interest. These are corn plants from Earth, he explained patiently. They grow tall and produce sweet kernels you can eat. Zara's eyes sparkled with curiosity. Can we help take care of them? Of course, Miles said with enthusiasm. I'd love that. Soon, Keto and Eula joined them, eager to learn about the plants. Miles gently guided them, showing how to water, feed, and care for each plant. The garden became a place of comfort and learning for the children. They took turns helping, carefully tending to the plants, and watching them grow. One evening after gardening, Miles noticed Eula sitting quietly by herself, looking at an old photo of her parents. She looked very sad and lonely. Miles approached her gently, sitting quietly by her side. I miss them so much, Eula whispered softly, tears in her eyes. I wish they were here, Miles nodded gently, understanding deeply her sorrow. I know you miss them. It's okay to feel sad. Do you want to talk about them? Slowly, Eula began to share memories of her parents, describing their kindness and warmth. Miles listened carefully, gently asking questions, encouraging her to speak openly. As she talked, Eula felt less alone, comforted by Miles's presence and genuine care. Later, Keto approached Miles privately, quietly thanking him for comforting Eula. She's very shy, Keto explained softly. It helps her to talk about our parents. Thank you for being kind. You're welcome, Miles said gently, placing a comforting hand on Keto's shoulder. I know how hard it can be. I lost my parents too when I was young. Talking helps a lot. Keto looked surprised, and Miles gently continued. Sharing memories keeps our loved ones close, even after they're gone. The following days aboard the ship were peaceful. Miles encouraged the children to share more about their parents, and he shared stories of his own family. Slowly, these shared memories bonded them even closer together. Miles also introduced them to music, a new and exciting experience for the children. Zara quickly became fascinated, eagerly learning new songs. Keto preferred calm melodies, finding comfort in peaceful tunes. Eula loved soft, gentle music, often quietly humming along. They began to spend evenings singing together, filling the ship with warmth and happiness. One afternoon, Miles announced they were nearing a planet known as Haven, a safe colony where the children could live safely and comfortably. The children felt mixed emotions, happy at the thought of a safe place, yet anxious about leaving Miles behind. Will you stay with us? Zara asked softly, hope clear in her voice. Miles hesitated, briefly understanding their feelings. I will stay as long as you need me, he promised warmly. You won't be alone. As they neared the planet Haven, excitement and nerves filled the ship. The colony appeared beautiful from above, covered in lush green landscapes, calm lakes, and gentle hills. When they landed, a small crowd of friendly faces greeted them warmly. Miles carefully introduced the children to the community, explaining their situation. The people of Haven were kind and understanding, offering help and support immediately. But as they explored their new home, the children stayed close to Miles, reluctant to separate. "We don't want you to leave," Keto finally admitted quietly. "You've become like family to us." Miles knelt down gently, meeting their eyes sincerely. "You are family to me, too. And I promise I'll stay close. You won't have to face this alone." His words reassured the children, and they felt deeply comforted. As the sun set gently over their new home, they gathered quietly together, grateful for the journey they had shared. Despite the sadness and challenges they had faced, a sense of hope and happiness grew in their hearts. As night fell on Haven, the stars shining softly above, Miles felt content knowing he had given these children a chance for happiness and safety. He knew their journey was not yet over, but he was determined to remain by their side, helping them navigate this new chapter of their lives. "Could have been hurt, but you didn't stop." Miles smiled warmly, kneeling to face Keto. "You and your sisters mean everything to me," he explained gently. "I promise to keep you safe, and I'll always do my best to keep that promise." Keto nodded, seriously, fully believing Miles's words. "Thank you," he whispered sincerely. As the children drifted into sleep later that night, they felt a new and deep trust in Miles. They realized that he wasn't just someone caring for them temporarily. He was someone truly willing to risk everything to protect them. Miles sat quietly in the control room, watching stars drift by, feeling a deep sense of responsibility and affection for these young lives. Entrusted to his care. In the quiet and darkness of space, they all felt the comforting presence of a bond, growing stronger. Despite the challenges faced today, they knew they were no longer alone. The next few weeks on Haven were quiet and peaceful. The colony was a beautiful place, full of green trees, open skies, and friendly people. The children slowly got used to their new home. Every morning, they helped in the gardens or explored the fields near their small house. At night, they watched the stars and listened to Miles' stories about other planets and distant galaxies. Miles stayed with them the whole time. He had promised not to leave, and he kept his word. He worked part-time fixing machines and helping the colony's engineers. But every evening, he returned to the children, bringing food, supplies, or little surprises, books, games, or soft blankets. One afternoon, Keto came home from the community school with a worried look on his face. He sat down quietly, not saying much. Zara and Eula noticed right away. "What happened?" Zara asked gently. Keto hesitated. "Some kids at school said humans eat animals. They said you only lied to make us trust you." Miles looked at Keto calmly and sat down beside him. "I understand why that would upset you," he said softly, "but I didn't lie. It's true that many humans do eat meat, but I made a choice not to. I wanted to live in a way that shows respect, and I made that choice long before I met you. But why would the others say that?" Eula asked, confused. "Because they're scared or don't understand," Miles replied. "Sometimes people say things when they're unsure or afraid of what's different. That's why it's important to always be honest and kind." Keto listened carefully. He looked into Miles's eyes and nodded slowly. "I believe you," Zara added. "Me too. You saved us." That means more than what people say. Later that night, Miles took the children outside. The stars above Haven sparkled brightly. He pointed to one small twinkling light. "That's Earth," he said quietly. "It's far away, but it's my home. I didn't always feel like I belonged there. I traveled because I wanted to find meaning, to help others. And then I found you." The children were silent for a moment, feeling the weight of his words. "You gave us a home," Eula whispered. "You're our family now." Miles smiled, deeply moved. "And you're mine." The next day, the colony held a festival. It was a day of music, dancing, and food. People from many planets came together to celebrate unity. There were colorful lights and delicious smells everywhere. The children were excited. They dressed in their best clothes and walked proudly beside Miles. but when they arrived, some people still stared. A few whispered when they saw the human with the alien children. Keto felt the stares and looked at Miles. "Ignore them," Miles said gently. "We know the truth." Zara nodded. "Let's just enjoy the festival." They played games, tried new foods, and listened to songs from different worlds. Slowly, others began to notice how happy and close they were. A few people came over and smiled. One woman even gave Eula a small flower crown. Later, the colony leader, a kind woman named Laria, stepped up to speak. She welcomed everyone and thanked them for being part of the community. "Today," she said, "we celebrate the beauty of difference and the strength of love. We are one family, no matter what planet we come from." As she spoke, she looked directly at Miles and the children. Others turned to see, and some began to clap. At first, it was just a few, but then more joined in. The clapping grew louder until everyone in the square was cheering. Miles looked down at the children. They were smiling, surprised, and happy. "They're clapping for us," Zara whispered. "For our family," Miles replied, his voice full of emotion. That night, after the festival, the children couldn't stop talking about what had happened. They felt seen. They felt accepted. They felt proud. "Do you think people will stop being afraid of humans now?" Eula asked sleepily. Miles tucked her in and smiled. "Maybe not all at once, but today was a good start." As he turned off the lights and sat quietly nearby, he felt peace in his heart. The journey had not been easy, but every step had brought them closer together. And now, in this new home, they had something strong and unbreakable: love, trust, and a place where they truly belonged. A few weeks passed after the festival, and the bond between Miles and the children only grew stronger. Life on Haven was peaceful and full of small joys. The children were doing well in school, learning new things every day. Keto became more confident. Zara was always asking questions, and Eula slowly opened up to new friends. One morning, Miles received a message from the Colony Council. They wanted to meet with him. The message said it was important. Miles told the children he would be back soon and headed to the council building. Inside the meeting room, 5 council members sat in a circle. Laria, the leader, greeted Miles kindly. "We've seen the way the children look up to you," she said. "You've given them love, safety, and a home. We want to ask if you would consider making the adoption official." Miles felt surprise. His heart beat faster. He had always thought of the children as his own, but hearing it from the council made it feel real. "Yes," he said without hesitation. "I want to be their father," the council smiled. "Then we will begin the process. It will take a little time, but we will help you through it." Miles left the meeting feeling happy and nervous. That evening, he sat the children down. "I have something to tell you," he said. "The council asked if I want to adopt you officially. I said yes." The children stared at him, surprised. "Does that mean you'll be our real dad?" Eula asked softly. "Yes," Miles said, smiling. "If you want that too." Zara jumped up and hugged him. "Of course we do." Keto nodded, his eyes shining. "You already are. This just makes it official." The next days were busy. Miles filled out forms, met with council members, and spoke with guardians who supported the adoption. The children also had meetings to share their thoughts and feelings. Everyone could see how much they cared for each other. One afternoon, a new problem came. A visitor from another planet arrived at the colony. He was a tall man with sharp eyes and a serious voice. His name was Darnell, and he worked with an interplanetary group that handled foster cases. "We received reports about these children," Darnell said coldly. "They are not human. A human raising alien children is unusual. We must investigate." Miles kept calm. "They are more than just alien children. They are my family." Darnell didn't smile. "We will see." Darnell stayed for several days. He watched everything. He followed Miles and the children. He asked questions at the school and talked to neighbors. The children felt nervous and confused. "Why is he here?" Zara asked. "He wants to make sure we're safe," Miles explained gently. "But don't worry. We know the truth." Despite the tension, Miles remained patient and respectful. He showed Darno the children's schoolwork, their art, and the garden they loved. He explained their routines, meals, and the stories they shared every night. Finally, Darno asked to speak to the children alone. One by one, he asked them questions. "Do you feel safe here? Do you trust Miles? Would you like to live somewhere else?" Each child answered clearly. "He saved us," Keto said. "He's kind and fun," Zara added. "I love him," Eula whispered Don after. The interviews, Darno left the colony for a few days. Everyone waited quietly for his decision. Miles tried to stay strong, but he worried deep inside. One morning, a message arrived. Darno's final report had been sent. Laria called Miles and the children to the council building. Inside, the room was quiet. Laria held a small data tablet and smiled. "The investigation is complete. Darno agrees with the adoption. He says the bond between you and the children is clear." Miles felt tears in his eyes. The children ran to hug him, laughing and cheering. Even Keto smiled wide, which was rare. That night, the colony held a small celebration. Friends came by to share food, music, and kind words. A soft breeze blew through the trees, and lanterns lit up the sky. As the stars twinkled above, Miles looked around at the happy faces. He felt proud and thankful. "We made it through," he said softly. "We're truly a family now." Keto stood beside him and nodded. "And nothing can change that." The children held hands with Miles, their hearts full. They had come from fear, loss, and sadness, but now they had found something strong and lasting: love, trust, and a place to belong. Weeks passed, and life on Haven became peaceful again. The news of the official adoption had spread across the colony. People who once looked at the family with doubt now smiled at them with kindness. More and more, the children felt like they truly belonged. Miles had added small touches to their home. On the wall was a picture they drew together, showing the four of them holding hands under the stars. The house was full of warmth, laughter, and the scent of meals they cooked together. Every evening, they shared stories, songs, or games before bedtime. One morning, Miles woke up early. Today was a special day. It was the anniversary of the day he first met Keto, Zara, and Eula. He quietly prepared a breakfast of fresh fruit and baked bread, arranging it on the table with care. He placed small gifts at each of their seats, simple handmade things: a carved star, a bracelet made of string, and a little book of kind words. When the children came into the kitchen, their eyes lit up. "What is this?" Zara asked, surprised. "Today is our family day," Miles said with a smile. "The day we started our life together." Keto picked up the carved star and smiled. "You remembered." "Of course," Miles said. "This is a day I'll never forget." They ate together, laughed, and talked about the past. Eula, sitting close to Miles, whispered, "I'm glad you found us." "I'm glad too," Miles replied softly. Later that day, they visited the village square, where a small event was happening. It was a gathering where families shared stories and performances. Zara had prepared a short speech with help from her teacher. When it was her turn, she stood on the small platform, holding a paper in her hands. She looked nervous at first, then took a deep breath. "We used to be scared," she began. "We lost our parents and didn't know what would happen. We thought humans were scary. But then we met Miles. He showed us love and kindness. He didn't ask us to change. He just gave us a place to be safe." The crowd was quiet, listening closely. "Now we're a family," she continued. "And even though we are different, that doesn't matter. Love makes us the same." People clapped, and some even wiped away tears. Miles felt his chest fill with pride. He looked at Keto and Eula, both smiling proudly at their sister. After the event, many came up to speak with them. Some shared kind words. Others thanked them for their bravery. A few asked for advice on how to become better parents themselves. As the sun set, painting the sky in soft colors, the family walked home hand in hand. Along the way, they passed the old garden near their house. The plants had grown tall and green. Keto stopped and pointed. "Do you remember when we first saw this garden? It looked so empty then," Zara said. "Now it's full of life," Miles added, "just like our home." They spent the evening sitting outside under the stars. Miles made warm tea, and the children wrapped themselves in blankets. It was quiet, peaceful. "Do you ever miss Earth?" Eula asked. Miles thought for a moment. "Sometimes. But home isn't just a place. It's where your heart is. And my heart is here with you." The children smiled, understanding his words. Before going inside, Keto looked up at the sky. "There are so many stars. Do you think other children out there are still waiting to be found?" "I think so," Miles said gently. "And I hope someone kind finds them, just like I found you." That night, as they lay in their beds, the house felt calm and full. Miles stood at the doorway, watching the children sleep. He remembered the scared little faces from long ago and compared them to the peaceful ones now. He had once been a traveler, alone and searching. Now, he was a father, grounded and whole. As he turned off the lights and walked to his room, he smiled to himself. His journey had led him to something far greater than he ever expected. A real family, a real home, and a love that would last forever.